Okay, so now we're ready to wrap up the lecture here. What we want to do here is think about all the biomes we've discussed: tropical biomes, temperate biomes, marine biomes, freshwater biomes, and look at how they all connect. Everything is connected together. That's something I want to keep stressing and make sure you guys recognize is these connections. You can't alter one biome and not influence another. It doesn't work. Think about the human body. You can't impact one organ and not have that influence or impact the other organs. So you remove a kidney, that stresses everything else out in the body, and so on. That's the perspective we need to convey to people, because most people who don't have a science background don't understand these bigger pictures, and it's huge, it's overwhelming, and they just kind of dismiss it. That's one of the challenges with climate change, is explaining it to people in a way that they can understand and comprehend it and relate to it, because they think it's just so big and so vast that, well, it's no, I just can't see those connections. That's the challenge of environmental scientists: conveying this information to people who don't have your background and get the terminology or get the concepts across to them in a way that they can understand it and appreciate it. And I'm not trying to say that they're not smart people at all, that there's brilliant people out there, but they may have a different background and just not understand the same concepts that we do as scientists, and vice versa. They explain economics to me. I have no idea what they're explaining because I don't have that background. So that's why I want you to be able to speak common language as well as the science language with these ideas. So the last part to talk about here is human disturbance. What have we done to these biomes? How have we altered the biomes on the planet and changed them? Pros, cons, consequences, etc. All right, so here's our big picture map, and this is a moving target. There's constantly change here. But if you look at it and say, okay, look at the purple color. All of that is land that has been domesticated. Let it sink in. Look at how much of the earth has been turned into domesticated land, land that we have altered for our purposes. And that's the struggle. How do we support the human population as it continues to grow? How do we continue to support it without domestication of the land? Some parts of the land we can't domesticate. Deserts. You're not going to domesticate a desert. At least we don't think so with today's technology. But look at all the grasslands, the forests. Think about those native biomes. How much of that has changed? So here's the big picture. Top map, native biome distribution. Bottom map, that's what we're looking at today. So think about the United States. Look at how much of the east coast of the United States was forest. And the top map, let me get the pencil out here. The top map, it was, do it in black here. This was all forest up here. And it's using kind of this reddish or rust gold, whatever color that is, to designate that was temperate forest. Now look at how much of it's fragmented. Check out the prairie. Now, this was all prairie as a native biome. Now look at almost all of it has turned purple because we've domesticated it. So the two biomes that have been the most altered, at least when we talk about the United States. Let me get a new slide here so we can put this information in here. Get rid of that. Okay, so human disturbance facts. That's sad to call them that, but all right, so what we're looking at is, get our big text box. prairie and temperate deciduous forests have been the most extensively disturbed terrestrial biomes. The mangroves have been the most extensively disturbed marine biomes. All these biomes have been just significantly altered and damaged and destroyed by us. Habitat loss, alteration, degradation, I'm just going to say etc., is our number one reason for species extinction. Because we're taking away the habitat, we're altering it, we're damaging it, we're destroying it, we're changing it to the point that it's not habitable by the native species. What we've done is we've decreased the producer productivity of these biomes so much, most native species can't survive there anymore. So huge changes to the ecosystem. I will encourage you, take a look at your book, table 5.1. There's a table on ecosystem disturbance. Check that out. Take a look at all the problems and the issues associated with ecosystem disturbance and what are we doing. Also, I want you guys to take a look at figure 5.23. Let it sink in. Here's some alteration of wetlands in the US. How much have we altered, changed, destroyed, modified, etc.? So things to think about. Let's connect back to our first unit when we talked about environmental movements, environmental people, but we also talked about laws. I want you to think about what environmental laws were put in place that help protect and support biomes. So think about Clean Water Act. Think about Endangered Species Act, the different forestry acts. Are those still doing what they need to be doing? Do those laws need to be changed? Have they been deregulated? Have they been altered by different administrations over the course of the last 50 years? Are the laws still actually protecting what they are supposed to protect? So that is a challenge, and that's something we're going to talk about. If the law isn't doing what it's supposed to do, maybe we need to change the law. Do we need to bring in a new law? What are the pros and cons of that? All right, so again, things I want you guys to make sure you're comfortable with in regards to these biomes. The biome features, threats to the biome, and values from the biome. What can we gain from the biome? There's all sorts of direct and indirect values. What are the threats that are being presented or that are threatening the biomes? And then what are the key features? How do we know this is a temperate deciduous forest versus a tundra or a boreal or a whatever forest? All right, so that's the big stuff for chapter 5 that I want you guys to get comfortable with. Depending on your previous biology stuff, some of this should look familiar. For others, it may be new stuff. get comfortable with it, because as we move towards restoration work, we're going to come back to biomes, and you guys are going to pick a biome that you want to work with and learn about in order to do restoration work in that particular biome. All right, so check it out. Make sure you guys are comfortable with it, and we'll talk about ecosystems some more with the next chapter.